Hi, I'm Frankie Frayne, and I've been making movies since I was a kid. I've made 4 low-budget feature films of varying success, and I've been to film school. Twice. For better or worse, I've developed a science for completing feature-length projects on Pocket Change, and it has a lot to do with the kinds of conversations you'll hear on this podcast with teachers, friends, and artists. You don't have to pay 40 grand a year for bad advice. This is Discount Film School. Welcome back to Discount Film School. We've talked to a lot of writers, actors, directors, people I've worked with, people I haven't worked with, but we haven't talked to any filmmaker who my only relationship to them professionally is that I was their actor. That's today's guest, Adam Deyoe, director of Psycho Sleepover. Let's get the whole list, Adam. Starting with Yeti, A Love Story.
Oh, every movie?
Yeah.
Oh, hi, my name's Adam.
Adam Deyoe.
Hi.
Yeah, but Yeti was not your first feature, though, was it?
No. I did 2 that no one knows about that I did in high school.
Talk about those.
No. One was pretty bad. It was called Project Horror, and I had to never show it to anyone because it was about a guy in a ski mask and a trench coat who kills a lot of people at a high school.
And it came out right around Columbine? You were making that?
It came out before it.
Okay.
And then so I got rid of that movie.
Yeah.
It was also a comedy, so that was not it was a horror comedy. And then I did another movie called Saw Red. It was like a weird car chase kind of thing. That was pretty cool. We crashed cars and stuff, and I made it for like $25, the whole movie.
Holy fuck.
And then freshman year of Emerson, I did a movie called The Mental Dead, which is a zombie movie.
That's the one I remember.
And we can go into that one later. And then I did a movie called Yeti, A Love Story, which we will also go into later.
Mm-hmm.
And then Street Team Massacre, Psycho Sleepover, Dead Season, One Chance to Dance, which is coming out soon, Birdemic 2.
Did you direct Birdemic 2, or just
I produced it?
You produced, yep.
And I'm doing a new TV series called, not TV series, a web series called Oishi High School Battle. So that's one we just finished shooting yesterday.
So that's the filmography, and yet, at least in this Skype frame, the ones that you proudly display are Yeti and Street Team Massacre, which I think is kind of interesting.
Well, these are actually not proudly displayed. These are in the editing bay.
Oh, we're in the shit room.
Are outside. Yeah, we're in an editing bay right now.
Very cool. Yeah. So I was just gonna say, I when I was in Los Angeles, just to kind of give people an idea of how you and I know each other. We had a mutual friend, Kurt Krober, who you had asked him to, which he was actually the most previous episode, or maybe one before that, was with him, and we talk about the
awesome.
We talk about the movie quite a bit.
He's great.
He and I kind of agree that like Psycho Sleepover, we ended up really kind of proud of it, and we kind of dug it. We had a lot of fun making it, and I actually watch it like probably once a year, and we kind of had a lot of fun, But Kurt was asked by you for some reason. Why did you ask Kurt to write that movie?
I actually don't remember. Probably, I think we had been wanting to do something together, and I think he was going to be in it. And I don't know. I think the idea came from Eric Goslin, who is the co-director on the movie. I think it was his idea, and me and him just were having trouble writing it. We wrote, I don't know, maybe 30 pages of it, and we didn't like it. Yeah. And I think we thought that Kurt was a lot funnier than us, so I think then we gave it to him.
Right.
That's what I recall. And then I think you, Frankie, you wrote some of it too.
Yeah.
After that, because I still think that me and Eric thought we weren't funny. So I think that's really what it came from. I can't remember. It was like in 2007. Or 2006. So.
Well, it was my see. It's highlighted for me because it was my brief period of time in Los Angeles. So, it's one of the few things I remember about like my 6 months in LA. But but yeah, no. Actually, I remember the first time I heard about you was Kurt was pumped because you were going to make a feature. This was in college. This is a very vague memory. He was pumped because you were going to cast him in a movie where he was going to anally fuck Rowdy Roddy Piper in a bathtub.
Oh, yeah, yes, yeah. That is absolutely true. But that wasn't in college. I think that was after college.
Well, for you it was, but we were still in college. We're younger than you.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted him to... it's not exactly what happens in that scene, but yes, he was supposed to play a hot tub boy, like a guy who cleans the hot tub, and Roddy was supposed to fall in love with him, and there wasn't going to actually be a sex scene. They get interrupted during it, so yeah, so it's a little off, but it was that was the idea. Yes.
Did you ever make that movie?
So, we have not made that movie. I still want to.
What's it called?
It's called Cannibal Soup.
Oh yeah, I totally remember that.
It's about swingers in the 70s and hot tub parties.
Right.
So that's pretty much what it is.
Well, I mean,
still love to make it.
You can imagine his excitement as like a 20-year-old film fanatic getting to, like, you know, be in any kind of subversive scene with Rowdy Roddy Piper, famed wrestler and star of They Lived, and with cameo appearances in some of your movies.
Yes. He's in Street Team Massacre, and his daughter is one of the stars of Psycho Sleepover.
And she's one of the few people. She's one of the few people I've made out with beyond my wife.
Oh wow! Well, that's but you were a girl, so it doesn't really count.
Right.
That's
the only way I can make out with anybody outside of Nina is it has to be a joke about how disgusting I am. That's the only way to kind of make it work. But
you were pretty vile in that movie. Yes, I do agree. And in a beautiful way.
And I want some fucking credit for that, because that was just a beyond shameless on my part, which I dug.
You were great. You were my favorite part of that movie.
Really?
So. Oh yeah, absolutely. You when you were wearing heels, I have that image ingrained in my brain where you walk away from us in heels.
Oh yeah.
And you're falling over, and your butt, you can't really fit your tights over your butt and everything. Yeah. It's fantastic.
You guys gave me tiny clothes, and I remember that was definitely not really an acting moment. I leaned into it a little bit, but I can't walk in heels, let alone heels that are way too small for me. And I just remember like having like foot pain for days. But it was totally, the shot came out hilariously.
Yay!
So Kurt writes it. And then he sends it out for notes, and we're in touch to this day, and we always send each other our shit. And I loved the jokes, but I was like, there's lots of things you can do here to like just kind of combine characters and kind of just, I don't know, write a more efficient script. Mm-hmm. And so he was like, would you be willing to sit with me for a few days and just kind of punch it up with me? And yeah, we spent we met with you a couple of times during that period. And we just sat down for maybe 2 or 3 days straight, and we just cracked each other up. And I think a lot of the jokes survived. They do end up in the final film.
Well, yeah, I remember the one thing is when we were doing it, we had so many characters in it, and so I'm glad that it was you, because I didn't know. But to cut out characters, and we had twins or something like that, and we had a black Jen and a white Jen, then it was an ugly Jen and a pretty Jen, and it just turned into just ugly Jen, which is just you. So there originally was a pretty Jen. Yeah. Right?
Right. And ultimately we were like, don't you really just need one ugly chick to steal the show? Isn't that all?
Yeah,
really
exactly.
Needed? And I don't remember.
And since there is like 800 characters in that movie still, so there probably was 900 originally. So
yeah. I don't remember how or why I was finally cast, but I was thankful that you did it, because you could have easily. I think we had to kill me a little early because I was going to head back to Boston by like December.
I think we shot everything with you in 3 days or 4 days.
Yeah, nice and quick. So that was that, and so that's really. I think that's probably the last time we spoke, was probably around that period, and then I of course listened to the commentary later. And let's see, because I'm an egotist, I was of course was listening for any mentions of myself. And Kurt was like, Frankie's married, he lost a bunch of weight, and you were like, he and that Nick Telly guy don't get along at all. So I was like, it's totally true. Yeah, for some reason, the guy with the 3D glasses and I just weren't having each other.
Oh yeah, I just saw him recently. He's still a good friend of mine.
Really? So. I don't know what I don't know what it was. Yeah, screw me indeed. I don't know what it was. I have some memory of there was a scene where I had to take a staple gun to his chest numerous times.
Yes.
And I wonder if I was going too rough on him or something.
Maybe he is kind of a pansy.
I remember showing him my dick a few times too.
Yeah, he probably liked that and got confused and then got angry about it.
Yeah. You know he kissed my testicles, and then I was like, hey, this was supposed to be for the movie, and then we were fighting the rest of the time. That didn't happen.
I know it. I know exactly what you mean. Yep,
Yeah.
that's got to be it. Well, that's solved, so that's good.
All right. So, Nick, if you listen to this, let's make another movie. So,
All right.
going back to let's do the kind of A&E Adam Deyoe biography, because you've been up to all kinds of cool shit, and I kind of want to lead up to that.
Oh, good.
Were you? If I remember correctly, you had an upbringing similar to mine, which was like you weren't necessarily a huge film guy as a kid.
No, not at all. I didn't watch any movies until I was probably in high school.
Yeah.
I had seen Star Wars, Indiana Jones, E.T., and Wind in the Willows. I really liked that movie when I was little, the cartoon one.
Was it because your parents just bought you those VHSs and therefore that's what you watched?
I think we taped them off TV, actually. So
yeah.
I only had those, but we only had like a small TV, and so I watched Star Wars a lot, but that was pretty much it. So until probably I was a freshman in high school, and I remember the first movie I ever rented I was a freshman in high school, and I rented Raging Bull, and that was the first one I watched. Then I ended up working at that video store because I loved Raging Bull so much. I was like, there's movies that are good. This is cool, that aren't Star Wars and Indiana Jones. Not that I don't like those. I love those movies. But, yeah, so then I just watched everything. And then I watched probably about 4 movies a night, and didn't sleep in high school at all, and just watched movies. So that's how it went.
Did you eventually hit one that was like, because like Raging Bull is an awesome movie, and it's one of those movies that I think kind of opens you up to like, oh, this is something that, this art form can be. But I'm not sure that it's the kind of movie that would make you want to make movies, because it's kind of too well crafted for that.
Yeah, no, I think the movie that did that was probably Evil Dead 2. That was like the thing. I was just like so excited about that movie. I saw that also when I was a freshman in high school, and it blew my mind. Then probably Pink Flamingos and Harold and Maude. Those were my favorite things. Dawn of the Dead also.
Yeah. Yeah, you hear that a lot about the Evil Deads.
Evil Dead 2 specifically.
Yeah. What do you think it is about those movies and about Evil Dead 2?
I think I know. I think it's because they're just really fun, and it was done in a way that you could tell that the person really loved what they were doing. That person being probably Sam Raimi and his crew. But it was you just watched it and it just like, I don't know, it just kind of like blew your mind that people could have fun doing this, and everything didn't have to be perfect, and you could just do what you wanted and made something awesome that made a lot of people happy. And it was so out there and so crazy that he could do anything. That's what he thought. And you're like, oh, I want to do anything. I could do that too. So I think that's that too.
Isn't it kind of interesting that you can sort of see the fun on screen? Like you wouldn't even need to watch a behind the scenes feature or anything like that to know that Evil Dead 2 was fun to make.
Right. Exactly. That's you can just see it just like with the camera shots and everything. They just were doing whatever they could think of. They just did whatever they wanted. That's what it seemed like, at least. And it's very inspiring. So
when
I don't know what it's like now after I've seen The Gift and stuff like that. I don't really know what to think, but and for love of the game. But back then he was doing some pretty awesome things. So,
The Gift was a while ago, and Katie Holmes's tits are in that movie. So
yeah. But she's a Scientologist. Or maybe not anymore. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know if it's sexually transmitted.
We don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is all kind of high school era. You go into the video store, you start sucking up movies.
Yeah, and I worked at the video store, so I got to just watch everything. One of my favorite things to watch was Snow Dogs with the audio commentary, the Cuba Gooding Jr. movie.
Oh yeah,
that was very interesting. Yeah, I actually did do that. I don't know why, but we loved the audio commentary to it because audio commentary. It's like, why would they make an audio commentary for a movie that's so stupid and nobody cares about? And I thought it was very, very interesting, actually, too. Believe it or not, that's actually true.
What is it? So. What does it contain? Like, what kind of tidbits?
I don't remember that much, but I remembered really liking it and thinking like, well, these guys actually care about making this crap movie, and I really like dogs. But it was also something that was pretty inspiring. I was just like, even the shittiest movies have people that care about it, So
yeah, no,
I kind of like.
So does that make a difference in terms of like you wanting to pick up a camera?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you can, because then you have freedom. You don't. It doesn't have to be a certain way, or it doesn't have to be Snow Dogs or Evil Dead. You know, it can be anything you want. So that's what's kind of exciting, and that's you can go to any opposite spectrum. You know, if you like Michael Bay, you like Michael Bay, and he can do all these crazy things, but I don't. But and then you can go to Sam Raimi, then you can go to whoever the hell made Snow Dogs. I doubt anybody knows, but yeah.
When do you when do you eventually try to make a movie?
When do you, or when?
No, when did you?
When I was a freshman in high school, I believe. Yeah, that's when we took a bunch of cameras from the high school. There's like a locker that had VHS cameras, and I had gotten a bunch of empty VHS tapes from my video store, and so it didn't cost us anything. So I thought, well, let's make something. So I wrote a horror movie, and we shot it, and it was fun. And we shot it in black and white, and it was, I used chocolate syrup for blood and stuff like that, and it was really fun. And then everybody at my school was in it. And then as soon as we finished that one, because I couldn't show it to anybody because of what it was about,
right.
Then we just made another one that was funnier, and then even more people were in it in my high school, and so everybody had fun, and everybody got to, I was Adam the movie guy, and I got to, put everybody in the movie, and everybody was like, I want to be in it, and it was really fun. So it's basically what I did all through high school, was just make movies and not go to class, and just make things. That was the best.
So this is another area where I think we kind of we're kind of similar. Is one of your first projects that you ever tried was a feature, and it was the same for me.
Yeah.
And that's like pretty unheard of. This is the reason why I did it, was because I was too stupid to realize you weren't supposed to make a feature. I saw all my favorite movies were an hour and a half long, so I was like, why would I make anything shorter?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, well, I mean, technically, I'm sure you dabbled with little things before that, though, right? Did you just shoot like outside and shoot like you running around and anything like that? Home movies, anything?
Yeah, it was like I did little cartoons, like little stop motion cartoons, and then
exactly,
and then I was like, okay, I want to make this feature, and then as I started to try to collect the resources to make that happen, by consequence, I made a bunch of short films.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah. So I guess I mean, so we did do a few little shorts. I mean, I made probably 2 hours worth of shorts in a way with my cousins at like our cabin. I did like stop motion car things, and what else? Just action figures like canoeing and things like that, and stuff with PSAs, fake PSAs, and cooking shows and things like that. So we did those with my uncle's camera.
And this was like your popularity didn't take a hit in any kind of way, because I've talked to a lot of people who were like, the kids that were making movies in high school were kind of lame. Like, and I don't remember being completely lame, but I definitely remember having like a difficult time relaying to somebody why I felt like I should do it or why I needed to do it.
I had the absolute opposite experience, I believe.
Everybody was in?
That everybody wanted to be a part of these things, so it was super fun. I mean, all my friends from high school and even before were all in my movies. And then the guy who starred in that Project Horror movie that I said that we couldn't show because of what it was about, he was just in my last movie. He's only been in 2 movies. He was in that movie, or he was in 3 movies. He was in that movie, The Mental Dead, and Dead Season, a movie I made 2 years ago.
Yep.
So, and he's only been in those. So, we all still stick together and still make these things whenever people are available. So,
do you still have?
And everybody.
Do you still have copies of that? Do you still have copies of that oldest stuff?
I do.
That's awesome.
No, I don't. No.
Do you really not?
I do, but nobody can know that.
Yeah. Okay.
For everybody hearing this now.
Not for public consumption, but
yes, I do have them.
It does exist. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually just a couple of years ago I copied everything to a hard drive so I could put them onto DVDs just so I would never lose them in case I ever wanted them.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, for sure.
But they were on VHS, so they were in pretty bad shape. So yeah.
Yeah, especially if you watched them a few times, huh?
I haven't, but yeah, they get dusty and shitty. So yeah, but no, I have them all, and now they're on DVDs just for my own personal use or to show, nobody. Yeah.
So you
don't get to see it.
So you made the Columbine, accidentally Columbine inspired movie, and then you made.
Yeah, it wasn't like a school shooting. It just happened that the killer, it was a slasher movie. It was like I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Right.
But it just happened that the guy was in a high school and had a trench coat. So it had nothing. There's no guns or anything, but it was enough to make me really uncomfortable. So yeah.
You were always really proficient with like homemade special effects, blood splatters, all that good stuff. Did you start learning that around that point? Did you get good at it?
Yeah, I never got good at it. I'm still not good at it. I do it out of necessity, but just when we don't have money to shoot things or have special effects people. But yeah, I just learned because there was no internet, so I just had to look at Evil Dead and say like, I wonder how they did that. So we just have to try and figure it out and test things in the backyard and make dry ice bombs and things like that. But yeah, really where it came from is when I did the Mental Dead in college. I had never really watched any zombie movies aside from Dawn of the Dead, and if you want to consider Evil Dead a zombie movie, which it's not really. But and I met this guy at a video store. I went in there and I said, hey, I want to make a zombie movie. He was just the clerk there. And I said, I want to make a zombie movie. Can you recommend some zombie movies? He's like, I love zombie movies. Me and him became really, really good friends. And he ended up doing the special effects. This guy from the video store, there's a kinship between video store clerks. And he made all my special effects and used real pig guts and all that. And he taught me a lot of stuff from that. Strangely enough, years later, when I made this Yeti movie, years after I made the Yeti movie, I got a call from Troma. And somebody was like, hey, Adam, this is, Matt from Troma. We're doing your box art and stuff. And I was like, oh, yeah, great. And I was like, and he's like, do you remember me? And I was like, Matt who? And he's like, I'm the guy who did the special effects for the Mental Dead,
Oh, wow.
6 years ago. And he's the guy who works, he's the acquisitions guy still at Troma right now. And I talk to him, I don't know, once a week. And he's the guy that I met at the video store 10 years ago. So it's kind of cool.
That's incredible.
11 years ago.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So, and now we work together every once in a while too. Still. So
he's a filmmaker as well.
Yeah, he's me and him are trying to make a couple things together at the moment, and he's produced Lloyd's newest movie, which is Return to Class at Newcomb High, and stuff like that. So
did I tell you I was on the set of Return to Newcomb High? You
went to Niagara Falls?
I did.
Oh wow!
Not in Search of Jesus or anything. It was I have the writer of my next feature was doing a documentary on Lloyd, very ironically, and he we were becoming friends somewhat, and he wanted me to cam op, and so we went out there for a weekend, and actually we did it to test whether or not we could stand one another for making an entire feature after that. And we totally could, but it was pretty awesome to, I grew up with that shit. Troma was one of those early movies that, like you for Evil Dead 2, their movies I could see through the production and I could see the fun they were having. And, I can't say that I keep up with them well now, but when you're 14 to 17 years old, that's exactly the kind of shit you should be watching and enjoying. If you want to make low budget stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And funny thing is, I actually inadvertently worked on a couple scenes from Class of Newcomb High as well here in LA when they did pickups over here.
Oh, did you?
So we did a scene with Mark Neveldine, the guy who did Ghost Rider 2 and Crank, and I shot a scene with Lloyd with Stan Lee, which was pretty cool. So he plays he does all the voiceover in the movie. He's like the narrator. So that's pretty cool. And I got to meet Stan Lee.
Yeah, it's kind of a small world in a weird way. You hang around long enough making these kinds of films, and you sort of eventually meet one another. I was surprised you and I never met until after you had graduated. That was kind of strange.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. We didn't live on campus, so we were away.
Yeah,
but I knew Kurt, so
there's the division.
That was good enough for me. At least we knew Kurt, so then I could meet you. So there.
Yeah, right.
Was great.
So Mental Dead. This is that was a sole directing credit for Adam Deyoe, correct?
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about the production of that movie. I mean, each one of these is a feature, and we all know that features have sort of, even if shot quickly, a lot goes into them. So it's I'm sure we're just glossing over the details.
Yeah, so The Mental Dead, you know, it should have been a lot. I actually really like that movie. I think that's one of the better things that I've done because it's pretty short and sweet.
Yeah.
It's only like an hour long or something, so I guess it's not really a feature, but maybe it's a little more than an hour. I can't remember, but it's a very short feature, so so it's really easy to watch. But that movie we made for $80. I know that because I found the receipts recently because I keep all of my old receipts. It was made for like $79 or something like that because we paid for food and gas for people, right. And fake blood. But that was going to be a bigger movie. There's this place called let me see if I can remember, Metropolitan State Hospital in Waltham, Massachusetts.
Yep.
And it was an old mental institution, I guess you'd call it, or that they shut down in the 90s, I think. And it was abandoned. And I used to go take pictures there like early in the morning and sneak past the security guards and do all that. And it was my favorite place. It had underground tunnels and like swimming pools and art galleries. And they must have shut down the hospital when it was Christmas time because there's Christmas decorations everywhere from 20 years later. And I guess it wasn't 20 years later, but at the time maybe 15 or so. Anyway, I called the movie The Mental Dead because it was going to be about zombies in a mental institution. And we got all these permits to shoot there, and my friend's dad is a lawyer, and he got all the documents signed and everything. And right before, and we were getting generators, and we were actually going to spend some money on it. And right before we went into production on it, the hospital said we couldn't do it because it just had gotten sold to this new company, and there was liability issues. So we were really sad. So anyway, we put the movie on hold. But then we decided, hey, forget it. Let's not have any money, and let's just make it anyway, and let's just shoot in random places. And so we just made it anyway and just changed the script. So that was it.
And never changed the title.
No, because it's a cool title.
Yeah, no,
I think so.
It is a cool title. Did you? And you got you weren't distributed by Troma on that one, but you did get distributed.
Yeah, it's actually the movie that I've made that, based on the budget, has made the most money. So I think it made it was made for $80 and it made around $6,000 or $7,000. So that was kind of cool.
That's a huge net yield. Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, somebody released it, and I don't know if it ever really came out, but I still I had it on my MySpace page like a long time ago when MySpace was a thing, and it had a Mental Dead page, and I still get requests for it, and people send me $10 and I'll burn a copy of it and mail it to them.
Oh, so the rights are back with you, and now you're the one who kind of distributes it when people are interested.
Yeah, I mean, like no one else can get it anywhere else, so why not?
Sure. So they can still totally contact you on Facebook or something if anybody wants to watch that movie.
I guess so. I don't know if the MySpace page is still there, but I mean, I've gotten requests for it as recently as like 9 months ago, so it's kind of funny.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
And so then, so do you make Yeti after you graduate from college?
No, we did it during college. We did it our junior year, I think, of college. We were doing like or maybe senior year. We were doing like all our serious senior shorts. Like we were doing like everybody had to do like a thing on film, and we were getting really frustrated with it. So one day we went camping. Me and Eric Gosselin went camping. Eric Gosselin being the co-director, and we said, it would be funny if we made a movie about a Bigfoot that was attacking us while we're camping. And we're like, yeah, let's do it. And then we just did. So that's where it came from. And we had our friend Moses. Eric and I wrote the story, and then me and this guy Moses wrote the screenplay. And then we made that movie and didn't think it was ever going to go anywhere. But then Troma picked it up, and I don't know if you've noticed recently, but it's become very, very popular. Have you noticed that?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it was on. It's on the just a couple months ago. It was on the front page of Reddit twice.
Really?
It was on the front page. Yeah, it was on the front page of BuzzFeed, Imager. It was on it was on all these Tumblr things. It's been a pretty big topic on Twitter, and people are watching it like crazy. We're getting all these emails about it. People are everybody's calling Eric Gosselin or texting, Jesus. He's emailing Eric Gosselin about things for it, and everybody's going nuts over it. We get things. All of a sudden, in the last few months, we've been getting all this fan mail, like hundreds and hundreds of things. So, but just being on the front page of Reddit twice in a month was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So, and not just the subreddit; it was on the front page. It was like the third thing down.
It's a scrappy little movie. What do you think? Do you think it's just it's fucked upness? You know
exactly. Yeah, everybody was saying just like, what is this? It's on demand now, so you can watch it on like something called Xfinity, and people just went crazy over it. So I would like to announce then also the next movie we're making is Yeti Love Story 2, Life on the Streets.
Holy fuck!
So
are you going to make it under the same circumstances? The two of you directing for a really low budget, or yeah,
correct. Yep, it's the exact same thing, and the whole cast is coming back, even the people who are popular now and famous. So which is kind of funny.
Ugly Jen ought to be in there somewhere.
You're more than welcome to come out and be in it. It's a vile. The new movie's. I don't want to give away anything, but it's going to be way more disgusting than the first one. So and we're just going to do it for fun.
Yeah. So you're basically taking the feedback of like people love how fucked up it is and cranking the dial up.
Yeah, exactly. We just decided, well, if people want to see it, and maybe they don't, but whatever, we're going to have fun making it. So it was, validation. It's like, oh, well, we've had this idea. We wanted to make a sequel right after we made the first one and never did because we were so mortified by how much everybody hated the film. Yeah. I mean, people hated it. They said, we got death threats and things because of how people who saw it, I don't even know how they did, but they did. And but now people are liking it. So I don't know. So we just took our old treatment that we wrote 9 years ago and wrote a screenplay. And screenplay's done. It's getting coverage right now in the room behind me. So we're really excited about it. But yes, Yeti Love Story 2, Life on the Streets.
Did you Life on the Streets? Did you write the screenplay? You and Eric?
No, Eric Goslin and Jim Martin wrote it. I did not write it.
Oh, wow.
I came up with a story with them. So it's the stories by the three of us, and they wrote the screenplay. And it's one of the funniest things I've ever read. I couldn't breathe when I was reading it. I was laughing so hard. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, and you guys
about cloning.
Oh, it's not a clone.
It's about Yeti cloning.
So Yeti cloning.
That's yes.
So you guys are going to be bringing a lot more. You've developed as filmmakers a lot since you made the first one.
Oh yeah, but it's going to look the same. Don't worry.
No, it's going to look the damn same.
Yeah.
So very shortly at this point now, you're making a habit out of just cranking features out. Like that, don't look behind, just keep making new stuff, right?
That's what we're trying to do. Yeah.
Well, I mean, even that early on, that seemed to be sort of your strategy. Like it seemed like you didn't spend much time reflecting on the movie you had just made before just going right into the next one. And I've realized
exactly.
I admire that. I sort of do the same thing. And the only thing that allows you and I and anybody else to do that is to keep these budgets super, super low.
Right.
And a lot of people have a real tough time wrapping their heads around the idea that you can make a feature for this kind of cash. I mean, certainly like the horror genre and the campy horror genre, like the low budget is very appropriate for that. But I think that honest to God, I really think that people overblow what they think that they need to spend on movies. In a lot of ways, I think that people validate their project. They feel like their project isn't valid unless a big budget is attached to it in some way.
Mm-hmm. Well, the one thing I can say about that is if you have something like a Yeti movie to make, there's no reason to make it a big budget because you're just going to lose money.
Yeah.
It's just, and you can't, we have to survive and everything. But, nobody's going to get paid on those things,
Yeah.
But when I do like something like Dead Season and stuff, I mean, everybody gets paid and you have to, because it's a job, and so we have to, I think that's where the budget things come from. If you have the ability to make something for free, why not? But, you can only do that so much before people start saying, hey, I'm busy. You know what I mean? I can't help you anymore.
Well, unless you have sort of a core crew of people that you always work with who always look forward to doing this. Right. I mean, that's a tough group and a tough set of relationships to maintain. But it, I certainly have done it, and I don't know, like going into the next movie, which is yet another labor of love. I don't know, to hire somebody to work on the movie. I'm not sure I would want that kind of relationship for the sort of project I'm making.
It depends on it absolutely depends on the project, Yeah, it absolutely depends on that. Yeah.
So then.
But
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, nothing.
Oh, okay. So then up next was Street Team Massacre, and before you talk about it at all, Street Team Massacre, if nothing else, and I'm not saying there is nothing else, but if nothing else, it has a theme song that I've had like on my iPhone for years, and will still occasionally queue up. And tomorrow morning, I'm recording a podcast with Rob Morrison, who wrote and performed that theme song.
Yeah, it's a great song. I believe it's called. Wait,
girl, you gotta drink me up.
Drink me up. Yeah. It's a great song. It's like a rockin' ballad. Yeah. Yeah, that song's great. We did
validate this.
Did you have something to do with getting that song to us, or was it Jeb?
No, it was all Jeb Heil.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, but
probably nobody here knows who Jeb is, but Jeb was one of the actors in Street Team Massacre, so there's that for you.
Right, and didn't he write it as well?
Yeah, he helped write it. Yes, he did. Yes, Eric Goslin wrote it mostly, but then me and Jeb did some of it too. Yeah.
Yeah, he was another mutual friend of mine and Kurt's. Right.
Yeah, and he was great. That's the only thing that he was ever a part of with us, because he moved away, but we wanted him to be in Psycho Sleepover, and he just wasn't around when we did it, so we had to give the acting job to somebody else. Very sad. But
he's a very funny guy. He's been a part of a lot of dumb little projects over the years with Kurt and with their comedy sketch group, and they made a great little movie a long time ago called What's Up Talking Bicycle.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, where Kurt plays the rapist guy.
Yeah, and basically this sort of children's educational type of bicycle brings unconscious children to Kurt's junkyard to get raped by Kurt. And and Rob Morrison, performer and writer of Drink Me Up, does the voice of the bicycle. So that's I've always.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's very interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, What's Up Talking Bicycle is one of my favorite movies, so everybody should check it out. I haven't seen it in a very long time though.
I think it's on YouTube.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's terrible.
I think it's in some highly compressed version on YouTube from like the early YouTube days.
Oh, that's the best way to watch it, I assume, right?
Yeah, it is, for sure.
Unless it's on VHS. Yeah.
So
awesome. Yeah.
So Street Team Massacre, if I recall, I think you kind of you stepped it up in terms of the special effects a little bit on that one. I mean, again, of course it's campy, but quantity. I remember there being by the time you get to 60% into the movie, it's just nothing but splatter effect after splatter effect, and it's a lot of fun.
Oh, good. Yeah, I actually, I think a lot of the gunshots in that movie look pretty good. I mean, for what they are, they're not squibs. They're just tubes running up people's shirts, but with insecticide pumps underneath. But yeah, I thought they were pretty good. That movie we made for nothing as well, so we didn't have a budget. But we bought some guns, and that was pretty much it. And again, the dry ice bombs. We use the same stuff. I still use the same stuff now. So yeah.
I should probably
Yeah,
I should probably ask who edits the movies.
I do. Yeah, I've edited all of them.
You're kind of the sole. You're kind of the sole editor.
Yeah. Yeah. For all of those ones, I edit all of them. Yeah.
Yep.
The new ones I haven't, but I've co-edited them.
Do you like edit as fast as you produce? I mean, are you just like cranking through the edit?
Yeah, I just usually sit for I don't sleep, and I just edit, and then I'm usually done. And then it's usually pretty bad, and then I sit up, I don't do anything for a couple weeks, and I go back to it. That's pretty much how it goes.
And then you call it done.
And then then I have my friends come in and do a little focus group, and then I fix the things I don't like, and I do it again until everybody likes it. So,
yep.
Just with the people I care about. So yeah.
Right.
Because a lot of people have. A big focus group, and I don't care what those people say, but the people that I trust, I have them come in and look at it and say, is this too much? Is this too slow? Is this too boring?
Yeah.
I've been making a lot of very slow movies recently, so we had to speed it up. So that's what mostly they've been doing.
Yeah,
but I want to get back to Street Team Master for 1 second, because there's a funny thing about how much the movie cost.
Yes.
We shot at an actual filming location where we needed permits and everything, and we couldn't afford the permits So we lied about them and pretended that we were film students. I had Kurt, actually, this guy that was on your podcast before. He was at Emerson, and he pretended that he was directing the movie so we could get the insurance through Emerson. And then we couldn't afford the location fees, but we needed this location. So I said, can we do a job? Can we like work for you instead? So a bunch of my friends went out there and we built staircases for their cabins. And we went out for 4 days. And for 4 days of manual labor with like 5 of us going there to work, we got a free location. So,
oh, wow.
So that's a very good way to be able to make no budget movies if you do manual labor for people.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's a sort of compensation.
Exactly. So sadly, the place burnt down and our stairs are gone now. But
oh, bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah. For anybody who wants the details, there's a quick thing on, because some people are curious about this kind of stuff. The whole insurance deal. When it comes to asking for locations and finding locations, most of them, especially private companies and private property, you can normally go up to whoever owns that property or whoever the property manager is. Just ask, tell them it's going to be a day, it's only going to be a few people, whatever. Try to keep it small, and they'll say yes. But on occasion, especially if you're going to go to like a school, or especially if the school is in session when you want to do it or anything like that, or if there's an unsafe space, they're going to ask you for your certificate of insurance, which basically says, that the property is not liable for your safety or your equipment's safety.
Right.
And that you'll take the responsibility for any damages to their property that you create. That's essentially what it is. And getting a certificate of insurance, I think minimum is like a $500 fee for one location. Yeah. So it's really cost prohibitive for the kind of stuff that we want to do. But if you are lucky enough to be able to go to film school, at least Emerson College, where Adam and I went, they will, because they're handing you film equipment, they have to insure their own equipment anyway. So they already have certificates of insurance for the property that you have, and they will cover you for school related film shoots. So you'd basically just have to make your shoot related in some way to your school.
Or pretend that it is. Yeah.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've only had to do that maybe once or twice, but it came in real handy when I did.
Yep, me too. Yeah, we need it because a lot of things, it can be very expensive. So
yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're not likely to break anything. I mean, granted, I've never really made like off the hook horror movies. I mean, you guys are doing a lot of physical stuff. I guess there's more of a danger there.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, we're lucky we got away with what we did at the time. Yeah. I mean, another movie I did, we shot in Puerto Rico, and we did get insurance for that. But that's because we were shooting in Puerto Rico. There were tarantulas. There were spiders. I know tarantulas are spiders, not spiders. Centipedes. There are these centipedes that could kill you. We were running through the jungle and rainforest in the middle of the night. So everybody got hurt. People got stung by jellyfish. There was terrible things happen. So it was very good that we had insurance. Nobody really cared that they got hurt, but we got attacked by fire ants and bees and all kinds of things. So yeah, it happens. And then, you never know if one person on your crew, if they're not a tight knit crew, somebody might get angry and then they can get in trouble.
Right.
So you got to be careful.
Right. So, we didn't even talk about what the plot of Street Team Massacre is. It's basically about a street team selling like a protein drink or warring protein drink sellers on the street, and it turns into a bloodbath, right? Yes. Yeah. It was. It's like basically Red Bull or something like that. Yeah. They're energy drinks that they're selling. One's an eco-friendly energy drink, and the other one's like for bros. And so, yeah, and then it turns out one of the juices gets tainted by Lloyd Kaufman, and it makes people grow unibrows and want to kill everybody. Kind of another zombie movie. But it's like more like 28 Days Later style, so not more infected people, not zombies. But, but made a lot of zombie movies. So that's pretty much it. But we just didn't have any money for makeup, so we just stuck fuzzy unibrows on people. Pretty much it. I like the unibrow idea quite a bit. I dig that. Yeah, it's just like they grow hair all over their body. It's just like you turn into like, testosterone. Because I heard one time that Red Bull was made from bull semen, like something called taurine. I don't actually know what that is, but it sounded kind of funny. And I was like, well, if you're drinking so much taurine that you just like turn into a Neanderthal and start killing people, I thought that was kind of funny. So that's where it came from. And Roddy Piper is in that movie for a moment.
Yeah, he plays a delivery boy.
So how did you meet him? How did you develop a relationship with Roddy?
I was in an art department on a movie that he starred in, and he didn't like to talk to anybody on set except for me. So we had lunch every day together, and we just became friends, and that was it, And he started calling me, and we hung out and would have dinner together. And then I asked him if he wanted to be in my Cannibal Soup movie, and he said yes. And we had a lot of meetings about that, and with the producers of it, which ended up not happening, sadly. But yeah, and we just became friends, and I became friends with his daughter and his daughter's boyfriend, and he ended up shooting Psycho Sleepover, and she ended up starring in it, and yeah, and we're still in touch now. So yeah.
What was the guy's name? A-Rod or Aaron or something? Aton, yes, thank you.
Yeah,
he was a nice guy, and he shot a nice looking movie.
Yeah, he did a great job, and yeah, I don't see him very often, but once every couple months I see him. So he's been doing his own things too, and he's doing a lot of special effects now, doing a lot of digital effects. So that's what mostly he does. So did you,
up to that point, had you switched it up for each movie with which director of photography you were working with? Was it always a different guy?
Usually Eric and I just shot them, but we realized we were terrible. So yeah. We already knew we were terrible, but we only did it again out of necessity. As soon as we could trick somebody into shooting something for us, we always would, because we knew we were awful. Yeah. But again, we didn't really care. We just wanted to get the movie made. That's what the most important thing was for us, even if it didn't look great. Now I care a little bit more about that, but but not for like Yeti. We don't care how that's going to look. So
are you guys going to shoot that? You kind of have to.
Well, yeah, we're gonna shoot some of it. I have my regular DP is going to shoot it. He's doing it for free. So, but he's going to use a fake name. So it'll be awesome. But obviously you could look it up who he is and find out right now. But, yeah.
I only ever shot my first feature. I mean, I shot a lot of shorts and I've shot a lot of things since then. But in terms of the features, once I did Abo, Doug Bergdorf was the cinematographer, and I never went back to shooting my own shit ever again. I really like working with a DP.
Yeah, absolutely. It's too hard to do, without it, and then everything looks so awful. But again, sometimes a movie looking awful isn't a bad thing. It's just, usually it is.
Yeah, right. Normally,
sometimes it's not.
For me, it just takes the pressure off of, it's like, look, you just are more talented than I am. Here's basically what I need from you. Can you do that? Yes. Okay, great. And yeah, it's offloading a major responsibility of the film so that you can focus on performances and comedy timing and all the things that directors have to be conscious of.
Yeah, you should never shoot your own thing, but if you have to, you have to. So
yeah. and I love that notion of like what sometimes a decision is the difference between making a movie and not making a movie, and
exactly.
Yeah.
So why not?
And I completely forgot that now you've reminded me, you were working while you were living in LA, you were working on a number of movies in their art department, sort of big budget union pictures.
Yeah. I did that for a while just to pay the rent and everything while I was in, because we haven't made very much money making our movies, so yeah, we had to do that. I haven't done art department in a while. Sometimes I do it every once in a while if a friend asks me to do it.
What do you do?
But, what do I do for what?
For art department, I mean, are you special effects? Are you set decoration?
I usually just art direct, build sets. I just work with I only work with one person. He's my friend Ethan, and if he asks me to do something, I usually will do it if I'm available. So, but it's usually just for fun, and I usually do it for free for him. I just work on whatever he's working on. So.
Well, then you're obviously good at it. So when I asked about the blood effects and stuff like that, you were like, well, I was never good, but I had to do it anyway. But you're obviously artistically inclined in that way.
Yeah, I enjoy doing it. It doesn't, you know what I mean? I enjoy doing it, but it's not something that I think I excel at in any way, shape, or form.
But if somebody's clearly hiring you to do it, then somebody thinks you're good at it.
Oh, well, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So we talked about Psycho Sleepover quite a bit already, and people can, and I would encourage them to go grab that from Troma or on Amazon.com or wherever else. Because it's got all your favorite people in it. It's got Kurt Krober, Frankie Frayne, Roddy Piper's daughter, the occasional boobs, Murder Pizza. There's a great little scene. where they're watching a horror
Chingy's
movie called Murder Pizza, and big floppy titties are in that scene.
And Chingy, the rapper from long ago, he was the guy in Murder Pizza. So.
What's the guy's name?
Chingy.
Yeah, I'm too white. I'm too white.
He sang a song called "Right There" that was really popular. So I don't know. You can look it up. It's RIGHTTHURR. I think is what it is. Right there. There.
And that was that. I mean, I do think that movie looks a little sharper, cuts a little tighter than your previous work, but it wasn't any more expensive, was it?
No, it was the same. We made it, and we made that one for around $1,500.
Yeah. That's about the area I work in.
Yeah, and the street team was like 1,400, I think, or something like that. So
I remember we shot in was it Ryan Martin's apartment?
Yeah, the producer / one of the stars' apartments, house. It was his house in Compton or not Compton, something like that. Yeah, it's where they shot Boys in the Hood.
Right,
so,
right.
Yeah, and where the Black Dahlia.
You see, it all comes back to Cuba Gooding.
Yeah, absolutely. Always. Snow Dogs is a masterpiece, and everybody needs to know that.
At least
actually, I don't really even know if that's a good movie. I don't know if I've actually ever watched it without an audio commentary, so I have no idea what that movie is.
I remember. It was one of those things where it's like you're going to make a fairly physical horror movie in somebody's living space. So the occupant, so his, he obviously was full in, but his roommate was, cautiously generous.
Yeah, for a while.
For a while. And I remember not even during a fucking take, during a rehearsal, I'm getting into my character. I'm, trying to be a murderous psychopath, and I totally break a window.
Yes, you did do that. That was, but that was weird. You just were knocking on it, and it just shattered. So it's an old house,
Right.
Yeah, that was right in the middle of that. Yeah, and we had to, but nobody cares. We just put a piece of cardboard up and we kept shooting. So
I bet Nick Tully, your best friend, cared. He probably came over, started sucking on my penis.
Yeah, he probably did do that, but I wasn't there for that. I was probably busy fixing the window. So.
Yeah, very, very likely. I felt bad. I'm trying to remember if I was in any way injured. I don't think I was.
No, you definitely weren't.
Yeah.
No.
Ryan Martin was also just another thing that kind of stands out because I was definitely at like my fattest when we shot that.
Awesome. That's why we hired you.
Yeah, you were like, let's take advantage of this bell curve.
Exactly.
I remember Ryan Martin cooked up a nice barbecue, like almost on every shoot.
Oh, well, that's nice of him. I don't remember that, but yeah, that's great.
I probably ate it all before.
Barbecues were pretty cheap. See, that's the and people like barbecues. It's just that they take time. So that's a great way to keep costs down when you're shooting a movie. I'll tell you this. This is the best thing that we ever did. You know, extras can be kind of expensive,
Sure.
And your friends get really sad when you keep asking them to be an extra in your movie over and over again, and they hate it, and they start hating you. Well, get this. For the zombie movie that I made, Dead Season, we needed hundreds of extras for one scene. And we're like, how are we going to do this? We have no money. What are we going to do? So what we did is we just put posts on Reddit and like on Facebook and said, hey, if you can meet at this place, and it was actually in Compton in a metal recycling plant, if you can meet here at like 8 or 7 p.m., we're going to shoot all night, and we're going to give you as much beer as you want and hamburgers. We can't pay you.
Right.
And I think about 200 people showed up, and they all came and they wanted to be zombies, and they all were zombies. And we had a huge scene that looked amazing for what we had. And it only cost us, about probably $400 in beer and burgers. So.
Free food, man.
Well, I think the beer was a big thing.
And free beer, yeah.
We didn't check anybody's IDs, so who knows? We could have had 12-year-olds drinking. Didn't really matter. So
shut the whole goddamn thing down.
Why not? We also were shooting guns in there. We didn't have any permits for that. So.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So what was your final opinion of Psycho Sleepover? Do you even have one? I mean, do you finally form opinions on these films, or do you just move right on?
I haven't watched it in a long time. I remember liking it when I edited it. But I don't really know now.
It's a good laugh, man. The reviews that I've seen, I kind of agree with, which that they're like, well, you basically, you go into the movie expecting sort of normal trauma fare, and what you get is this comedy in it that that doesn't you didn't really expect. This very kind of aware comedy that's really funny throughout, and almost all the performances work, and a lot of people dig it.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, actually, to tell you the truth, I remember when I was editing it, I thought that the movie was very tedious, to tell you the truth.
Really?
I remember, I thought it started out really good. I'm actually remembering now. And then I thought, like, it just turned into, like, so many people getting killed that I started cutting scenes out of people getting killed and trying to shorten it. And I remember when I was done, I was like, I wish we'd cut out more of these deaths, even though that's what people want to see in a way. I just thought it got kind of boring at the end, because you just see one after another person getting killed, and you're like, oh, okay. So I think that was my opinion on it. So I haven't watched it since, but maybe I'll check it out again.
You should revisit it. You're making sense. I'm finding that lately with even just like the biggest blockbusters. I'm finding that even kind of like the most simple audience member is like. Take the Avengers, for instance. You enjoy the moments where they're all standing around in a room talking and making you laugh a lot more than you enjoy watching them fight really expensive CG.
Well, yeah, because it doesn't look like anything. They're just like they're just on green screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty boring.
But that's supposed to be the most exciting shit, and yet
it's not exciting at all.
Yeah, they're them standing around in a room talking is way more exciting.
Well, I didn't see the Avengers, but I did see Iron Man 3, which I thought was horribly boring. Yeah. But I did, and the thing that everybody hated was, I guess, the little boy in the movie during the second act, and I thought it was hilarious. I thought everything that Robert Downey Jr. was saying to him was the best part of the movie. Although I didn't think it was needed to be in the movie, I thought it shouldn't have been in there. But it was the best part of it. And when there's just CG suits flying around that don't make any sense, I was just like falling asleep. So I don't know.
Yeah, you might as well watch a cartoon or something.
Yeah, I much rather would.
So I much rather would. So I like to think that that after Psycho Sleepover, Dead Season, is that because I've never seen the film, but that's the title?
Dead Season is I think that was the next movie I made. Yeah, I made that in November of 2009.
I liked it. I mean, having seen the trailer, it looks like a big kick up in terms of budget. So we got to hear the story about how you go from one $1,500 movie after another to that.
Well, that movie did not have a big budget, just so you know.
You just did a good job of making it look that way.
Thank you very much. No, basically what that was, it's kind of a long story, so just cut me off if you get bored. Or just edit it out. I met somebody on an internet dating site, and I went on a date with her. And it turned out that she did movie stuff. And she's like, oh, my gosh, you make movies, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah. And she said, I really want to make a movie on an island. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. And she's like, well, I can get all this money. Let's make a movie. And we're like, okay. So I talked to my partner, Enzo, who he produces everything with me now. And we're like, hey, let's make a movie that takes place on an island. So me and Enzo wrote a script. With Adam Alamet, the star of Yeti and Street Team Massacre, and one of the co-stars of Psycho Sleepover.
Yeah, he's in Psycho, yeah.
Yeah, and so we wrote the script, and it was a comedy about people stranded on a deserted island, which someday I hope we still make, because what this leads to is we didn't make that movie. Right. So anyway, we wrote the script, and we really liked it, and then we go on a location scout. So me and this girl and Enzo go on a location scout. We go to Vieques, Puerto Rico. It's an island in the Bermuda Triangle on the east coast, off the east coast of Puerto Rico. It's a it's a army testing site. It's the most gorgeous island I've ever been on, but it's they tested depleted uranium and phosphorus and bombs, and nukes, all kinds of stuff there. It was given to this is where the long part of it is, because this is very interesting, actually. Mm-hmm. But just bear with me. But anyway, it was given to America by Spain as a gift. And we just bombed the crap out of it. But there's a lot of people that live there. So half the island is a military testing facility, and the other half people live there. It's got the highest cancer rate in the entire world, this island. A lot of people go there and die. It's very, very sad. But a lot of protests happened, and they stopped doing the bombing. So now they have to clean up the island. So the military, we were actually shooting there, and on our location scout, they would every Thursday, they would just gather up as many bombs as they could and just blow them up in the ocean. just to get rid of them. And there's landmines everywhere, so we had to be very careful as to where we went, because everything would blow up. Anyway, we get there, and here's the point. Here's the point of the story. The point is that when we get there, we see that there's all these military bunkers, all these abandoned buildings, half blown up buildings, and gorgeous beaches, and we're like, we can't shoot a deserted island movie here. We got to use all these military bunkers, underground tunnels. It was crazy. So what did we do? This is a month before we're shooting. We decide, no, let's make a zombie movie. So we're on the island, and we write the script. We write the treatment for the script in a day. And during pre-production, we say, okay, everybody, we're not making comedy anymore. We're making an action zombie movie.
Yeah.
And they're like, but it's a month away. And we're like, who cares? We're doing it. So we did. And we wrote the script while we were doing pre-production and while we were on set, which is also why you will notice when watching the movie that it's a very disjointed movie and it could be a lot better. But it's, we did the best we could, and we knew that we had to make a zombie movie. And anyway, but the girl who said she'd get us all the money, she didn't get any money. So we had to pay for it out of our own pockets and get somebody else to invest in the movie. It was a big disaster. We got in a huge fight with her. And I blew up her car. I set it on fire. So that's how that ended. But yeah, we got to make the movie, and we had to do it with our own thing. The car setting on fire was it's a whole nother story. You can ask a question about that if you want.
The main question is, did you blow it up for the movie, or did you blow it up out of spite?
Out of spite for the movie, under the guise of the movie.
Okay.
Yes. No, she bought a pass van for the movie, and it was our crew was in it, and our crew hated this van because it was a death trap. And we're like, why did you buy such a shitty van? And she's like, well, it's the only thing I could find, and blah, blah, blah. There's many sides to the story. Anyway, at the end of the shoot, she said, I'm going to keep the van because I'm going to stay on this island and live here. And we're like, what? I was like, but we paid for it. You didn't pay for it. She's like, yeah, but I want to keep it, and you're not going to use it. And I was like, why not? Why can't we just sell it back? She's like, well, it barely works. I have to fix it. And I was like, well, why don't we just blow it up? And she was like, why would you blow it up? And I was like, because it's in the script. And she goes, no, it's not. And that night in the script, me and Enzo wrote a scene where somebody throws Molotov cocktails at the van and blows up a bunch of zombies. So we called the fire department on the island, and we said, hey, can we drive this car out to the jungle and blow it up and fill it with gasoline? And they said, sure. And they brought their fire truck over for free. And we filled it with gasoline and threw a Molotov cocktail at it and blew it up.
Holy fuck.
And, well, we all cheered. That was the last thing we shot in the movie. And everybody drank rum while we blew it up. And that was pretty much it. And I think she cried a little, but that's okay. But we got a car blowing up in the movie, and it's still in the jungle. You guys can go to Vieques and just find a burnt van in the jungle.
Oh wow!
So
I mean, again, just going off the trailer, it's a fantastic looking movie. And your obviously your DP did a great job, and you had a great location. You had a lot of extras, a lot of makeup. It looked pretty sharp.
Cool. Yeah. Well, it's doing really well. It was the #2 movie on Netflix for like weeks and weeks and weeks in a row. It was only second to a Will Ferrell movie.
Thank God for Netflix, huh? Because without a distribution platform like Netflix, where people are just trying stuff out, and it's a lot more, I don't know, people are a lot more browsy. Would a movie like Dead Season ever really get watched, especially in that capacity?
Probably not. I mean, it did really well in Europe and stuff, but on DVD. But yeah, on Netflix, I mean, you can find it on Netflix. It's on instant streaming, and
oh, great.
Yeah, it's got more. It's more reviews and watch things than a lot of studio movies.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's pretty interesting. I don't know why that happened. I think it's because our box art is very eye catching. And it just says Dead Season. You know exactly what it is. It looks like an island. It looks like a zombie movie. And you're like, I like zombies. I like islands. Let's watch this movie.
Yeah.
And it also looks kind of like the remake of Dawn of the Dead's cover. So people might get confused a little bit and watch it because of that. So either way, people are watching it. So
yeah, I'm looking at it right now. It even has sort of a Walking Dead, the text. And
yeah, it's like almost exactly the same. The thing that was interesting, though, is it came out in France first, and it got put up on torrent sites. Like within with months before it came out in America.
Right.
And in, I think, 1 week, we saw that it got downloaded and over 1 million times. So
do you think that the amount of torrents helped the business of the film in the end?
Absolutely. Yes. I think that was a huge part of it. People knew what it was. It was on IMDb, you know how they have those rating systems?
Yeah.
it was number 33 on IMDb.
Right, and it hadn't even been distributed.
Yeah, it was 33 out of what? Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of things. It was ahead
Millions.
of Big Bang Theory. You know,
wow.
So, and whatever that Charlie Sheen. What's the Charlie Sheen show?
Oh, 2.5 Men.
Yeah, it was ahead of that, and those things are real popular.
Yeah.
So I think we were ahead of Thor as well. So
that's insane.
Yeah, I don't know. It's because of the torrents. So yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, they're not all bad, are they?
No, I actually was at a bar that one night I don't know, 6 months ago, and I overheard somebody talking about Dead Season behind me. It was so strange, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I saw this movie Dead Season, and blah blah, it's pretty good." And I turned around and I said, "Hey, hey, my name's Adam." He's like, "Hey man," and I was like, "Oh, I really like horror movies too." He's like, "Yeah, I'm a big horror movie guy." And I was like, "What movie are you talking about?" He's like, "Oh, this zombie movie called Dead Season. It's not out yet." I was like, "Oh, where'd you see it?" And he's like, "Oh, I torrented it." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool. I directed that movie." And he went, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, my name's Adam Deyoe. I directed Dead Season." He's like, "No, you didn't." And I was like, "Yeah, it's this and this and this." And I explained it. And he's like, "Oh my God, I am so sorry." And then he ended up buying me and my girlfriend like 4 drinks each. He could have easily spent, he easily spent $40 on us when he could have just.
What was he saying? Was he saying nice things about the movie?
Yeah, he was. He was saying that he really liked it.
So what the hell was he apologizing about?
For downloading it.
Oh, you must have been, yeah, but he doesn't know that you're like loving it.
Yeah, no, now we're really good friends actually.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's a really good friend of mine now. So he's probably going to help produce one of my next movies. So.
Fuck yeah, man. That is so goddamn cool.
Yeah, and he was just a guy at the bar that was talking about how he downloaded my movie.
And then, so after that, you got to take us up to Birdemic 2. Now, I'll tell you this, and I'll tell the listeners this as well in case they don't know. Birdemic, for anyone who doesn't know, Birdemic 1 has a little bit of notoriety, or quite a bit of notoriety, depending on who you ask, for being kind of one of the currently more popular, like So Bad It's Good kind of movies on Netflix. It's kind of a Netflix sensation. And when I talked to Kurt and I was like, "Hey, I'd love to get Adam to talk on the podcast," every time I mentioned it, he goes, "You have to. He's producing Birdemic 2." And he just kept saying that over and over again. So he's really keyed into the Birdemic thing. So bring us from Dead Season to Birdemic 2, The Resurrection.
Right. Yes, that is what it's called. I did another movie in between that called One Chance to Dance. It's a teen dance film. The reason why I did that is my friend Jake wrote it. Who's one of my best friends, and they didn't have a director for it. He's like, "Do you want to direct this?" And I was like, "No, are you kidding me? I'm not going to direct a teen dance movie." And then I thought about it, and I was for about 10 seconds, and I was like, "Actually, no, I need to do this." So I made a G-rated dance movie that's hopefully coming out pretty soon. We're just finishing the sound mix on it right now. But
that's a lot that's a lot of work for like almost like a joke idea, isn't it?
It's not a joke. It's they were doing it very sincerely. It's like a Hallmark movie.
Were you doing it sincerely?
Yeah. It was. I put some comedy in it. Eric Goslin's in it. He plays We added a little funny things. I mean, he plays kind of a pedophile lunch man. He only has one line, but we definitely put him in there. I also, if you look very carefully in the background, there's a wizard walking around in a lot of scenes. But other than that, it's a Hallmark movie about a mom who's dealing with alcoholism and her daughter who wants to dance. So
was it another? Were you able to keep the budget low, or what were the circumstances?
It was a bigger budget. Yeah, it was a little bit bigger than. It was about twice the budget of Dead Season.
So what? Can you give us figures?
I probably shouldn't because it's not out yet.
Okay.
But Dead Season was under $500,000, and this one was also under $500,000, but double the budget. So think about that.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. That's excellent.
Yeah. So you can go wherever with that, but yeah, I can't talk about it just because of distribution crap.
Yeah.
They don't allow you to talk about it, and then I can get sued. Isn't that great, film industry? So,
well,
I don't think I get sued, but I can get in trouble.
Yeah, no, for sure.
People will slap me on the wrist. So.
It's my job to try to get you to tell me.
Yeah, I can talk about all the other movies though. All those other ones, those are cheap. But so I can talk about those because those are mine.
Yeah.
But but when other people buy your movie, then. But I'll tell you that Dead Season did really well. It was we made all of our money back plus enough to make more movies. So it went really well.
It's fantastic.
So, yeah, it's awesome.
So do you still? I remember you kind of made a lot of these movies under the Brat Pack.
Pratt Rat.
Pratt Rats. I'm sorry. Did you ever kind of turn that into an LLC and have a little money coming in that way, or how did you, or is that just kind of what you call yourself?
We have a different LLC now. We're called Very Important Productions.
Mm-hmm.
That's our comedy wing, and our horror wing is called Flynn Forest Productions.
Mm-hmm.
So those are LLCs that we have here in LA, and we are making a bunch of things. So which I'll get into afterwards. But we have a bunch of things coming up. So we're going right into production on a couple things. So
Trey Parker and Matt Stone, they just founded.
I know we did ours right before them, and then they're like announced Important Productions. So like, oh, I guess we're more important than them because we're very important.
Well, it's funny.
That sucks though. We were like, oh no, now people are gonna get confused and think we did it on purpose, but we didn't.
Yeah.
Didn't.
Well, you're lucky though, because I read something where they very closely called it Very Important.
Very closely called it?
No, so they I'm just talking like a retard, but no, they came very close to
being
calling it that. Yeah, they thought it was.
Well, they couldn't have because we already had it. So
I'm not sure if that was, they might not have looked into it that far, but they mused at the idea of calling it Very Important.
Well, maybe now I can talk to them and be like, yo, what do we do now? So let's join forces. We'll make Cannibal the Musical too.
A love story.
Like, no, get away from me. Yeah.
So Birdemic 2, you're finishing up the dance film.
Yeah, and so we went to the American Film Market. I went there to meet Matt, to go back to the Trauma guy who did special effects on Mental Dead and released Yeti, which also Street Team Massacre is coming out in August, which is kind of fun, finally.
Who's putting it out?
Trauma.
Yeah.
Trauma's doing it.
Yeah.
And then, but I went to go meet Matt and Lloyd because we were going to shoot that thing that I mentioned before with Neville Dean of a car crash for Return to Class at Newcomb High. But I get there, and I run into a friend of mine named Scott, who was the original producer, and very strange to go back to everything else, the guy who was producing Cannibal Soup, the movie where Roddy Piper was going to play a swinger. Very strange. And I just run into him at the American Film Market. And we start talking, and he's like, yeah, I'm working on Birdemic 2. We're trying to, do some stuff with it. And I was like, oh, what's going on with that? He's like, well, it's already shot, and we're just, they're finishing it up. He introduced me to the guy who was producing it, and, well, we really got along really well. And he said, well, I'd really like you to see Birdemic 2. And so he brought it to my office. We had to watch it in secrecy, just the two of us, like in a room. And it was the funniest thing I'd ever seen in my life. And I said, this can't be real. He can't have done it twice. Turns out it is. It's completely real. What we ended up doing is then James Nguyen, the director of Birdemic 2, came into my office, and we did the final cut of the movie. So what we did basically is how it worked and how you can have people who know that a movie's bad make a movie that's sincere is that you let the director do whatever he wants. So no matter what asinine thing he asked for, we did it. And we didn't do anything ourselves. We didn't say, well, this scene's too long, or this is not funny enough, let's put a more hammy thing here. No, we just did what he told us. So we just acted as editors. And we sat there and we edited with James, and he made the craziest movie I've ever seen. And if you think Birdemic 1 is boring and crazy, this is way more boring and way more crazy. Birdemic 2, it's insane. And James is the nicest guy ever. But he's a nut. He's a total nut. And he'll be the first to admit it. But he is not he's not a normal human being, And he doesn't speak English that well either. So what he says doesn't really make a lot of sense. So you have to interpret a lot, So
yeah. And were you, not to ask you tough to answer budget questions again, but Birdemic, bad or good, probably made a lot of people a lot of money. So they must have thrown a few bucks at Birdemic 2.
Birdemic 2 was not the same company. Severin released the first Birdemic. Birdemic 2 we did ourselves. So Jeff, the producer, raised the money for it, which is 40 times the budget of the first one. Mm-hmm. It looks exactly the same, if not worse than the first one, though, which is a weird thing. I guess people just got paid. I don't really know.
Yeah.
But that's how it went. And, I made the poster for it and with Enzo and stuff like that. But and then we just set up a tour. Our first screening of the movie was a complete disaster. But other than that, it's been received very, very well. People love the movie, so we're really excited. But a lot of people don't believe that it's real. And I don't know how we'll ever get that across to people to say, no, it's a real deal. This is not a satirical thing. This is a real movie. So that James made.
What a fucked up problem to have.
Yeah, I know. People are saying it's so bad. There's no way someone could make a movie this bad. And we're like, well, they did.
It's like you're watching it.
Yeah. The only way that I think I can prove it is if I release the script. So that's one thing that I'm toying with is seeing if we can get the script out there, because it is the craziest screenplay you will ever read. It is somewhere James heard that 1 page equals a minute, right?
Yeah, right.
So all the people out there who usually you say like 1 page of screenplay is roughly a minute of film. It's give or take depending on action or not, but that's pretty much it. So James will write scenes in the script that'll say there's a scene in the movie where it's 3.5 minutes long of a guy singing. That's all that happens, and then some people dancing, and it cuts to 2 shots. There's 2 different shots, and it goes on for 3.5 minutes. In the script, it says that. It says the guy who's singing, his name's Damian Carter. It says Damian Carter sings the song Born to be a Star. That's all it says on the page. You turn the page.
Blank page.
It says Damian Carter continues to sing Born to be a Star. You turn the page. It says Damian Carter continues to sing Born to be a Star. You turn the page, and it says Damian Carter finishes singing Born to be a Star and starts singing another song. And then you go on for another 2 pages. Then it says... Then the main characters are, I can't remember the characters in the movie, but the actors' names are TJ and Chelsea. It says, TJ and Chelsea make love. You turn the page. TJ and Chelsea continue to make love. You turn the page. TJ and Chelsea finish making love. That's the screenplay.
Wow.
So there you go.
And he's the one who has to direct it. He's the one who has to put it on screen. So
he does, and he thinks that it's great.
Yeah.
So
I'm loving there's a critic review you put on the poster. Entertaining as shit. 10 high fives up.
Yeah, so, I can't remember. Is that from Fangoria? Or...
That one's Dread Central.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we had a screening for those guys, and to ask for quotes. Believe it or not, that's how you get quotes, is you ask people for them. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, you just stand around recording.
You need their permission, because you can't just put somebody's quote on your poster.
Right.
Little inside information there for you.
Yeah.
But... it's been going really well. Like I said, the first screening was a disaster because the producer and the director got in a fight on stage during the Q&A. So other than that, though, everything's been going really well.
Did you bring any of your resources to that movie? Like, did you bring any of your guys or your crew or anything?
Yeah. Actually, we just for post, we had my sound guy did it, special effects guys did it, but they were under James's guidelines. Which is very different, and they were very confused as to James is like, this is when James said something was fine. I said don't touch it. He's like, yeah, but I the audio drops out, and then he would ask James, do you want this like this? And he goes, yes, very good, it's very good.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, okay, so he's like, I don't know if I want a sound mixer credit, but okay. And the special effects guy, he's like, can I just have a special thanks, because this is the worst ever. And I was like, you did exactly what James wanted you to do. He goes, I know, but okay. So, but you'll also be able to see there's a cameo of Yeti: A Love Story in Birdemic 2.
Really?
Yes. The main character walks past the man's Chinese theater in Hollywood, and we had to replace what was up there, which was, I think, Journey to the Center of the Earth Part 2 with The Rock. And we covered it over with a Yeti poster.
Genius.
So as he walks by, the man's Chinese theater is playing Yeti: A Love Story.
Well, nobody can say that you weren't an accommodating producer.
Yeah, exactly. So
you wanted to see the director's vision through.
Exactly, and but no, it's very hard for people to believe that.
Yeah,
they just don't get it. They don't understand that. They think, oh, this is completely false, and the whoever gave the money and the producers, I don't know how to tell people.
You're like, it's anything but false.
Exactly. It's just, it actually is kind of sad to hear when people say this isn't real.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, if you only knew, because this movie really is the pinnacle of bad filmmaking.
You're like, this is very much James's vision.
Exactly, and that's also what's very interesting about it is it's so inspiring, because even a movie that is technically so awful, it is the most entertaining movie you'll ever see, and you can say, well, if James can make a movie, so can I.
Yeah.
I think it's incredibly inspiring. People also say, like, oh, look, everybody's making fun of James. And yeah, people are making fun of James, but we're not making fun of James. we love James, and James loves us, and we hang out, and he doesn't think that he's doing a bad job, and I don't think he's doing a bad job. I think he's not a very skilled filmmaker. I think he never will be. I really don't think he will ever, because of just the way he acts on set and how he carries himself. However, he does make the most entertaining movies I've ever seen.
Well, he's definitely an artist.
Exactly. He's what do they call outsider art?
Right.
You know. So he's I think he's fantastic, and I hate when people make fun of him. But when it's laughing with the movie, you know, James knows that people are making fun of him, and he actually gets very defensive about it. He thinks he did a really great job, and again, I think he did do a great job for what he's able to do. But he'll never make Lincoln. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not that I saw Lincoln, but I assume it's very nice. I don't know.
It reminds me of just a little bit of I'm sure that Tommy Wiseau is a very different kind of character than James is, but my feelings on Tommy Wiseau's The Room has always been I think a lot of people kind of realize that what makes it so great is that they were trying to make an awesome movie. Yes. And what they ended up with was that. And for that reason, like, yeah, I'm cracking up the whole way, but I'm really, I don't know how to describe, like, I'm not laughing at anyone. I'm enjoying the film. I like The Room more than I like good movies.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But I think, you are laughing at them. They did a terrible job, but at the same time, you like that, though. You know what I mean?
But I know
you're not angry.
I know that guy who plays like Mark in the movie, that like kind of model looking guy, like I know that he is cracking up at that movie, and like
exactly.
Everybody kind of knows what's going on. And I also think that like the certain kind of flavor of badness that the movie is kind of a miracle. Like it is so
absolutely. It's so hard to do that.
Yeah.
You can't do it on purpose. That's the thing that, people are saying about Birdemic too. It's like, oh, they're doing it on purpose, and you can't do it on purpose.
Right.
I'll give you a little example of how silly James is and crazy. When we had a premiere at the Man's Chinese Theater, right? And it was great, and we had a great time. This was the second premiere in Hollywood, and James went up on stage and he says to everybody, "Happy Birdemic." That's his line. He goes, "Happy Birdemic, everybody! Happy Birdemic!" And you're like, "Ay, ay, ay." But then he goes, "It's so honor to be here at the Chinese Man Theater. It's great to be here. I've always wanted to play a movie at the Chinese Man Theater." He called it the Chinese Man Theater. You can't make that stuff up. The Chinese Man Theater. And everybody just started cracking up and like, is he serious? He just doesn't know that it's called the Man's Chinese Theater.
Right.
He calls it the Chinese Man Theater. That's what he thinks it is. So, I told him afterwards, I was like, it's that. And he goes, I don't know. That's okay. I was like, all right, James. And he thinks that seagulls are sea eagles. And he will not listen to you when you say that they're not sea eagles. They're called seagulls. And he goes, no, sea eagles. They're very dangerous. I say, okay, James.
This is meant to be the man who made Birdemic. I mean, he should know seagulls.
No, I think no, he shouldn't. He should know sea eagles. That's what the third one's called. It's called Birdemic 3 Sea Eagles. That's what he wants to call it.
It's a great idea. Sea Eagles, I'm in.
Yeah, he wants to shoot in Vietnam, which is going to be really cool.
So. Are you going to, are you totally serious about 3, and are you going to be involved in that?
I mean, he wants to make it. I don't know if he'll get money from anybody, but maybe if the budget's a little lower, then maybe, yeah. That'd be fun. Because Birdemic 2, I think, is better than Birdemic 1, and it's just so crazy. It's the first time I've seen people give a standing ovation for an establishing shot in a movie. There's a scene of a parking lot and a hotel, and it's an establishing shot, and nothing's moving in the shot. It's just cars sitting there in a parking lot, and it goes on for something like 40 seconds. And after about 10 seconds, people start getting upset. After about 20 seconds, people start laughing. After about 30 seconds, people start standing up clapping. Because it's just, who would put an establishing shot that's 40 seconds long?
Right.
And I told James in the editing room, I was like, you want this? He goes, yes, very nice. You have to establish the shot. I was like, I know what it's for, James. But are you sure you want it like this? Yes, this is right. I said, okay, James. So that's how it is.
It sounds like it was actually a pretty fulfilling experience in a weird way for you.
Oh, it was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. I was, because I'm such a fan of the first one.
Right.
It's like, it's one of my favorite things. I've watched it, I don't know, 10 times.
Yeah.
It's the most boring movie ever made. but it's so boring that it's funny. It's a weird thing. I don't know how people do it, but James does it.
He's revolutionizing boredom.
Exactly. And Birdemic 2 is very boring. The opening scene is 5 minutes of a guy walking down Hollywood Boulevard. So, and that's it. That's all that happens. He just walks there. He just walks and walks. And yes, in the script, it does have 5 pages of him walking. So
just blank pages again, or like, just so you know, he's still walking. Turn the page. Still walking.
That's what it says.
Yeah.
That's what it says.
So
how he wanted it.
So you've already hinted towards the new production companies you've opened up, but please tell us what's going on.
We just wrapped on seasons 2 and 3 of one of the most popular scripted YouTube series. It's called Oishi High School Battle.
Yeah.
It's a hybrid anime it's like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It's real people interacting with a demon slayer from outer space at a high school, and her father is banished to Glendale in California, and so it's about her dealing with normal high school, but like she's an anime girl. So I just directed 20 episodes of it, and we just finished yesterday, and it's going to be really fun. And there's tons of all the other characters come back from the first season, and it's going to be fun. I think the first season has like probably almost 20 million views. So I don't know what that means in anything, but it's like kind of impressive, I guess.
Yeah,
so so we're pretty excited about this new one, and we're just starting post-production on Monday. So
awesome.
We're super excited. Then we're doing 3 horror films back to back to back, which we just got funding for. So we're just finishing writing them. We're on our like 3rd drafts of each movie, and we're really excited about those. And I'm doing a period piece movie that I'm producing, that I'm not directing. My friend Hawk is producing it. He also produced Flight of the Navigator, if you ever saw that movie. Mm-hmm. And we're doing a pre-World War II drama. So about mostly concerning about exit visas and things like that. It's a very serious film. So that's going to be, we're really excited about that. We're shooting that in September, I believe.
The back-to-back horror movies, are they an anthology?
They are very similar films, but they have nothing to do with each other.
I see.
They are very similar in type and tone. I'm not going to talk too much about them just because I hate announcing things before they're in production in case something goes wrong. But
fair enough.
Yeah, we're really excited about them, and I really like the scripts a lot, and they're really fun. And so I'm excited to be making 3 movies. So that'll be really exciting.
Are you
and we're going to go, and for one of them, we're going back to Puerto Rico. So I'm really excited to film in Puerto Rico again.
Are you directing all 3? How many of these are you directing versus producing?
I'm directing at least 1, if not 2, and producing all 3.
Very cool.
So
yeah, you're just spinning a lot of plates as usual.
Yeah, we're just we were really lucky that Dead Season did so well, because otherwise we would have had to stop making movies, and we actually finally had a hit after all this, and it was very, very. I'm very grateful for that. We didn't know what was going to happen, especially since we didn't get any of the funding. We had to put in our own money. We were like on the island basically, and we were like, well, do we put in every bit of our savings and put everything on credit cards or not make the movie? And we did, and it was the stupidest thing I've ever done. But it turned out to be the best thing I ever did. Yeah. Because then we were investors on it, so we actually got paid. Right. So it was unreal. It was literally the stupidest thing we've ever did. But what are we going to do? Not make the movie? You know, it's that kind of thing. Yeah, we were already there. We already,
If you hadn't come from that background of like, what are we going to do? Not make the movie, which is everything that preceded that. That was your attitude, and it turned into something that actually turned a profit, a major profit that's enabled everything thus far.
Right, and we'd love to make a sequel to it too. So that's another thing that we have written out. It's just somebody will give us money. I know that they'll make money off of it because the first one did so well. So we just need to really get on that. So, also we're doing some other web series too. But that's basically how we, pay the bills. And we finally got a couple employees to help us. And, so hopefully things are picking up as the industry plummets. We're hopefully going to try get around that somehow. So I'll tell you this much: we're never going to make a big movie, but we're okay with that, So
yeah,
because we don't need to make Iron Man 3. So
right. I mean, that's the thing is like at this point, there's really tiny movies and there's really big movies, and there's not a lot in between.
Exactly.
There's not much of a market for anything in between.
I know. It's just it would be nice to just. It just doesn't make sense to make $1 million movie. It's just like, how are you going to get that money back? It's very difficult. But the other things we want to do, I really, really, really want to make an all-out action film, and it's very hard to do that on a low budget. So I'm trying to figure out how to work that into the agenda as well. So that's something that we already wrote, and then some dramas. So the other thing that I've been working on is I take care of my girlfriend's uncle. He has Down syndrome, and me and her, she's his caretaker, and we take care of him. And I've been filming him a lot lately, and we actually wrote a script that he was going to star in, but he actually got very sick and was unable to do it.
Oh.
But I'm really interested in doing movies. He's okay, but I'm very interested in doing that movie still, and I just need to find somebody with Down syndrome to play the part if he can't do it. But it's been, we want to do. I think that kind of stuff you can do for no money. You can do it for like $10,000, just as long as because you do need to pay some of the other people and the caretakers to do it, and the insurance is insane for people with disabilities. But those are the kind of things that I think could do really well and be very helpful. And so we've been working on that for a long time now. So we're trying to do something with that. So we're all over the place, really. I
mean, that's the thing is like everything is a niche market now. Everything is smaller audiences, but more intimate, more interested audiences. I mean, in a world where like every even the sort of medium-sized online distributors, they all produce original content. All that means is that like you can form little audiences that love you and will pay to watch you. And really the only thing beyond doing that is making super broad stuff that costs hundreds of millions of dollars. I think the age of the kind of like the mid 90s, Miramax indie film age is long gone. The idea that like a movie could be made for $1 million to $10 million and make $100 million back, it's not happening anymore.
Yeah, I mean, there's always, you can never say never, but it's very unlikely. A movie that I helped with that was made for around $600,000. I did script doctoring for it and everything, and scheduling for it. So nothing much, but it was a huge hit, and it was made for under $1 million, and it went to Sundance, and it got sold for over $6 million at Sundance, and it went to the theaters, and it was a pretty big movie, and it was nominated for an Academy Award, and even then, the producers and directors aren't really making anything.
Yeah, of course not.
But
well, they probably had to. The cost of promoting the thing probably dwarfed what they ended up making. Yeah,
it was called the Sessions. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, no, it's the Helen Hunt movie, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, a bunch of my friends made that movie, and I thought it was a great movie too.
It is.
But it's like you watch that movie and you say like, who is this movie for? Like who you don't really. It's a sex movie about a disabled person. Okay. So you're not really going to watch it with your mom. You're not going to watch it with your girlfriend. Kids aren't going to watch it. Old people probably won't. I don't really know who it's for.
Well, that's why I say what you want about the Academy Awards. Take as big a shit on the Academy Awards as you want, but they offer kind of another promotional opportunity for movies that otherwise don't have audiences. They're almost there just to give some screen time to movies that are just plain good and not necessarily fit an audience or fit a niche.
Right. Well, I mean, my favorite, I don't know, something tells me we have very similar tastes, Frankie, but my favorite movie of last year was Amour, and that got nominated for Best Picture and all that stuff, and I'm very surprised.
Who would have seen it?
It was my favorite. Yeah, exactly. I saw it, I don't know, because that director is one of my favorite directors.
Yeah, he's awesome.
So I saw it the day it came out, but it was one of those things where it just blew my mind, that movie, and I'm so happy that it got acknowledged, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. It actually made me very happy.
Yeah.
So wish it won everything. It should have won everything, but it didn't. So.
So you have so much stuff to keep up with. If people wanted to see the next thing going on, other than monitoring your constantly refreshing your IMDb page as more things pop up, where can people check you out?
I don't know. You can give me a call. I don't know. I have Facebook, but I don't use it very often.
Do you have a website or anything like that, or are you just kind of scattered all over the internet?
I don't know. I don't go on the internet too often. It makes me nervous.
Oh wow.
So,
wow.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess we have a company website. I don't know if it's up right now. Enzo's been dealing with it, not me.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I don't know.
All right, well, fuck that. So,
sorry.
That's fine. You're doing fine without my plugs. Adam Deyoe, ladies and gentlemen, a good guy, the kind of artist that you need in the world who just keeps making shit. And thank you so much for talking to me. It was so good to talk to you again.
It's really nice to talk to you too, and hopefully I will see you sometime. Well, actually, I can't see you. We're doing this over Skype, everybody, so I can see him. Yeah. So it's very nice. He's very pretty.
And Kurt and I, we've been looking for an opportunity to just write again together. I'm always making stuff anyway, but we'd love to write again together. So if you ever have a little episode of something or anything, if you're just looking for a quick writer, just toss it our way. We'll try to make it as funny as Psycho Sleepover if we can, or funnier.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Hey, you would do great on Oishi.
Yeah, there you go.
Your heart humor. But all right.
All right, man.
Is that it? Are we done?
We're done. And thank you for we know how shy you were and anxious you were. We thank you for suffering through this.
Oh no, it was a pleasure, as people say on the radio and on things when they really don't mean it. So,
on things, yeah. Adam, it was awesome talking to you, and we'll talk soon, I hope.
All right. Bye, Frankie.
Take care.
Thank you.